Looks like it's the top of the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started. Just a reminder that we are recording this. Good morning, good day, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our first ever WESaga Live. Today's live stream, like I said, will be recorded. We'll provide that recording on our YouTube channel in the near future for anyone who missed it or wanted to listen to it again. If you have any questions for our speakers, please post them in the live event text channel, and we'll try to answer them towards the end of the live stream. And with that, I will hand it over to Nicole to get us started.
Hey, thank you, Adam. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today for our very first WESaga Live. I'm Nicole Colwell, Executive Vice President and Chief Alliance Officer at PraSaga. I'm also the founder and exec sponsor of WESaga, Women Empowering Saga, our women's initiative. So for today's session, I'd like to give you a brief overview of the WESaga initiative so you can get familiar with it. And then we'll have our very first WESaga Live spotlight guest to discuss her project, share its origin story, and how she was introduced to PraSaga, our Layer 1 blockchain technology. WESaga is our women's focused initiative. It's Women Empowering Saga. We're building a community of women and men, our allies, recognizing the impact women are making in Web3 and how women are empowering Web3 technology, including SagaChain. A little background on WESaga. It really launched in late 2021. We started this initiative. And last year in 2022, we partnered with several organizations such as Unstoppable Women of Web3, and We Do, Women's Entrepreneurship Day organization, and sponsored events, both women's focused events at NFT NYC, Consensus by CoinDesk, at the Capital Factory in Austin, Texas. And we were very proud to sponsor Women's Entrepreneurship Day on November 19th at the United Nations in New York City, celebrating and recognizing the impact of women in emerging technologies such as blockchain, crypto, or digital currencies. The women and men on our WESaga team are building out an incredible program, and we'll start to share more in the weeks to come. WESaga is not just an initiative or a program, but it's more about building a community that's dedicated to supporting and connecting and providing new opportunities for us all. So every month we'll have a spotlight on a project, a founder, a creator, a builder, someone from our WESaga community who is doing that, who is looking to really empower the Web3 space with their positive contributions. And today, I'm thrilled to introduce to you this month's very first WESaga Spotlight project, MyDATA, and its founder, Michelle du Plessis, part of our WESaga community. Michelle is an incredible force of nature. She's an attorney, a Web3 enthusiast, a creator, and a visionary. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining. So let me talk a little bit more about WESaga. As Michelle is trying to figure out her sound, she apparently lost sound as after she joined, so not really sure what's going on there, but we'll get her on in a minute, hopefully. So WESaga, really excited because some of the things that we have in store for this year is, again, every month we're planning on having a spotlight, a WESaga Live, where we bring on someone from our community to talk about what they're doing, what they're building or creating in this Web3 space. Then also we will have different educational opportunities to learn about new projects, new technologies, new applications that are being built on SagaChain in particular. We'll also be helping to make those connections. And that's one of the things that we've already started doing as we're building out this community, is making those connections to other projects, to developers in this space, to help people launch. I think an ecosystem is so incredibly important, not just from an alliances standpoint, but from our community standpoint, helping each other, because I'm a true believer that when we lift each other up, we all rise. And with that, I think that the audio is now cooperating. Michelle, can you hear us?
Yes, Nicole, thank you so much. I actually can hear you finally.
Fantastic. Well, welcome, Michelle. We're so excited to have you here. Just give us a quick intro yourself and a little bit about MyDATA.
Thank you so much, Nicole, and I apologize for the fact that I wasn't there in the beginning. It seems that I had a little gremlin here. So I am actually a trained attorney. I am on the roll in South Africa as well as in the United Kingdom. And I am working globally in Switzerland and in the USA on other projects. And MyDATA was born because of my legal background. I was actually in Liechtenstein busy with fiduciary services for clients, and Liechtenstein is an excellent jurisdiction for wealth preservation. When one day I was busy reading a German article on the new Blockchain Act, which Liechtenstein has, and then that's where the idea of MyDATA was born. I read the whole act in German, and I got the idea that one can actually start tokenizing your virtual assets, and data being, I believe, the biggest asset each person actually sits on without knowing it. That is just the little spark in my mind got that second a fuse, and then I read, as I said, the act, and I got the idea as to how to monetize private data without selling your data, but rather leasing it out on the blockchain, and also through the TVTG Act from Liechtenstein, known as the Blockchain Act.
Interesting, Michelle. So basically, you took what you were learning about data from your legal practice, from what you know from a legal perspective, and saying, okay, there's something here. There's something that we can do different, where we can take ownership of our data and use it how we want to. Interesting.
Correct. So with that, I looked at the GDPR, the CCPA, and also the European, which is now enforced, the European Data Privacy Act, and also other acts. And I realized that the big data cartels out there is actually abusing our assets, whereby they monetize that, they're getting money for it, and we just gladly give it away without knowing it. So we have to start protecting our own assets. And by using MyDATA, you can earn passively income. And through that, you can gain and stay in control of your data. And this also provides an answer for these privacy acts with the GDPR, the CCPA, and all others.
So with MyDATA, your application, not only do you retain ownership of your data, but you have the ability to monetize it to, I think you said, lease out your data?
Yes, that's correct. So basically it has the ability where a data subject would get a push notification once they've signed up to the process for specific data sets which companies need in order to either do marketing or whatever it's needed for. And both sides of the end of the stick would then profit by this, because the companies would get specific data that is verified, and it's not false data whereby people just fill in some random surveys just to get something. This is really from the horse's mouth. It's verified because it will go for your demographics, geographics, psychographics, all those specific data sets and data points. And then the data subject will have the ability then to say yes or no, I want to lease out my data. And it goes through the blockchain on a tokenized exchange and a marketplace, and data sets will have specific values to it. Once the specific reason for the lease has expired, then it'll be transferred back. The keys and the tokens will be transferred back to the data subject. So the data subject will always remain in control of their data.
Oh, that's fascinating. So, Michelle, I mean, you're an attorney, you're not a technologist, right? Do you have a background in technology?
No, I don't. And what I know, I have read and learned from being very curious. And at this very specific moment, I'm actually now busy doing a course to start coding in Python. So I'm not a coder, I'm not a technologist, but I am very interested in all these things, Web3 and blockchain. Blockchain has been mind-boggling for me since I've ever read the first thing about it. So yeah, that's my next step. I like to learn, and I keep on learning, and I do want to master this as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that growth mindset. And Web3 definitely has so many opportunities for all of us to learn. And I love that. I mean, I think the message here, you don't have to be a technologist to get into Web3, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You just need
That's
to
really
think. Everybody
exactly.
does that.
Well, and get curious about it. And I think that we've talked about this before. That was my story as well, just allowing myself to get curious about it, kind of reserving the judgment that I had originally about blockchain and crypto, but really getting curious about it. It really opens the opportunities, right?
Yes.
So why did you choose blockchain in particular?
Well, oh goodness, I have a feedback here. Sorry about that. I did that specifically because of the decentralized opportunity that it provides, and also because when you look at what Web3, it gives you the blockchain technologies, and I knew that if you use blockchain for our solution and the TVD-TG Act from Liechtenstein, then obviously this is going to be my answer to this. And because of the privacy surrounding data and also the opportunities where you can have your data and your content in a centralized environment in a small group or for a specific company and profit by that. So that was the main reason why I got into this.
That's fantastic. So tell me a little bit about how you learned about PraSaga.
So as I said, I'm a very curious person. I went to Zug in Switzerland. I'm currently actually in Lucerne, and I do apologize for my little puppy that has just given her voice as to Web3 as well. But I was in Zug, and I attended the CVC Labs' summit, whereby PraSaga was the main sponsor. However, I didn't see PraSaga when I came in, and I went to the very first presentation, and Michael was on stage. And the moment that Michael started speaking, I realized, wow, this is what I'm looking for. This is the blockchain I'm looking for. And it's just so disruptive and also so much complementary for my data that I immediately left after Michael went off stage. I left and I was searching for where PraSaga is, and thank God I found you guys, and the rest is history. So here we are.
I love it. Yes, that was definitely part of your curious nature and your searching us out, finding us after that talk, and great conversations afterwards. We talked a bit about SagaChain and the object-oriented approach. And I think that was something that was a game changer for you, right? And what you're trying to achieve with data.
Absolutely. So when I went into more depth as for PraSaga, I then saw, that PraSaga is actually more advanced than any other blockchain. And then it actually provides a perfect answer to my data and also a perfect opportunity. So it just made sense. And I'm in love with the project. And yeah, so this is, I believe that it's like two hands that hold one another.
It's definitely a very strong partnership and alliance, agreed. And we're excited that you're building with us and working with us. I love what MyDATA is achieving and is working to achieve. And I'd like to, for you to discuss a bit more about the benefits of leasing your data for individuals. What impact could that have? We've had some good conversations about it. I'd like you to share with the audience more about it.
So I had some questions here. I'm going to answer those questions as I tell about this as well. So I have done my research in terms of the different generations and how they are working on their phones or mobile devices and using it, and adaptability. So before we had COVID, we had a lot of just Gen Zs and the younger generations that were basically 24/7 on their mobile devices. So I knew that these people would definitely be using this, and they are also the kind of generation that whereby if you ask them something, they always ask, what's in it for me? And that's obviously something that we need for my data. But I also realized that the baby boomers are in desperate need of extra financial support somehow, but because they are getting older, they obviously cannot get into a 9-to-5 job, and something else needs to be done to have a complementary or supplementary source of funds for pensions and so forth. Luckily, COVID-19 came, and then they became more adaptable to devices, so much so that the baby boomers are now at reaching 70% of using their mobile devices, whereas the younger generations are pretty close to 100. So in the favor for these different generations and for all data subjects, it would not take a lot of time from every person to be actively involved. All you need to do is sign up for MyDATA and fill in the specifics as to questionnaires that would be there. And obviously, through PraSaga and different approaches, we will then have verified users. And once these people have been signed up as a data subject, they will then form part of the pool. And then once we have companies that then join via the web portal, obviously they say, for instance, we want information on all women ages 20 to 60 years old drinking Pepsi or Coca-Cola. Then these specific data subjects would then receive a push notification saying, are you willing to lease out your data for this specifics? Once they say yes, then they will see what is the price or the payment they will receive. So it's just basically a push notification and yes, confirm. And then through the marketplace and the token exchange, the transaction would then take place and the person would receive their money in their account. And then also the companies obviously have the raw data that's verified, so they would know and they can tap into different data sets, as I've explained with geographics, demographics, all of those. So data subjects don't necessarily have to say, yeah, I'm only going to share my personal data or specifics and then only fill that in. So they can fill in everything, but then select what data sets they are willing to actually lease out. And we are now at the stage for raising. I had a question to ask whether we are raising. Yes, we're in the seed funding stage of raising. It's been self-funded and bootstrapped so far. Obviously, everybody that has a lawyer in their midst at some point of time would know how expensive legal fees are. And it took me just over 3 years to research all the legalities, the different jurisdictions, and I've paid a huge amount of money just to make sure that, yes, my legal brain is correct. I have the backing of the Liechtenstein government as well, and also the specific attorneys that I have a white paper from that has drafted the act. So, yeah, I have verified that. It's been vetted, and I know that the data subjects will get a benefit, and so will also then the companies that require these specific data sets for what purpose it is. And it's actually applicable to every single industry that do require data. Like we are now having this discussion, we are creating data, and yeah, so data is applicable 24/7, 365.
Absolutely. Well, and there's two parts to this, Michelle. I mean, we talk about the people who are supplying the data, but also the companies who would be wanting that data. So let's talk a little bit about that. What type of companies are you looking to partner with, or where are you kind of starting off with the companies that you'll...
Sorry, Nicole. As I just said, it is applicable to each and every industry, but I think for a starting point, if I can just use an example for marketing companies, for instance, marketing companies have been sending out surveys to try and see where their clients' products would be used and so forth. But in sending out these surveys, they do have a problem, because I've done those myself just to see how it works. You would get this opportunity to do a survey. They tell you, you're going to get $3 or $10, but it's not verified. Your name is not even in there. So I would, for instance, just do it and say, I'm a male, age 60 years old, and then answer any question just at random, just to see what happens. So the benefit for the companies then obviously is because it's verified, but also, as I just said, the marketing companies would be hugely involved in this, because that can then serve their clients. But also this can be done for recruitment companies, where they can verify and also send out specific requests for data subjects in specific areas where they would require, that's when you just do it as a white label, where they would require employees. And also you can do this in industries like insurance, banking, even the legal industry can use this. This is really so applicable for each and every industry, especially how I've designed the legal logic behind this whole MyDATA idea and concept. And we have actually used this in a case study, the principle in South Africa for debt review, where people would not go into bankruptcy, but they would go under debt management. And we've used this, as I said, the principle, so that we could get the data from these people and then help them generating court documents without us even storing the data. So this is applicable in each and every industry.
I think much like what we're building with SagaChain, I mean, so many industries can benefit from it, MyDATA as well. And another industry that you had talked about too is the medical industry.
Absolutely, yes. The medical industry for sure, because with patients having data and also pharma require those data sets to see whether patients actually have certain illnesses. If so, are they using medications? If so, does it work? So that is a huge industry for MyDATA, and I believe that pharma would be jumping on this. And another industry would be social media, because with MyDATA, a data subject can actually tick in the questionnaire, tick and say, I want to have my own social media data, and then it'll send a message to Facebook, Instagram, all the specifics that they've ticked, and say, cease and desist, send my data to myself, and you now take it off from your server. And once you want to use it, you're going to have to lease it back from me.
Wow. So many opportunities here for the end users, for both the individuals who are wanting to lease their data, but also for the companies. I think this is a wealth of information for them, and so many opportunities for different companies as well to benefit from what you've put together.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit more. We want to talk to you about being an entrepreneur in this Web3 space. I mean, you have several businesses, you're a licensed, experienced attorney, you're founder of MyDATA, newer to the web space. What do you like to the Web3 space? What do you like about working in Web3?
Well, for me, obviously, technology, and it always is bugging my curious mind. I need to know more and more and more about that. And because I am after the data and I got the idea, I realized that the data and the content that we can use through Web3 will also help companies, small companies, versus the big tech, to get them to gain more tracking. And also, as we can white label this for small companies so that they can then use it for their clients. And that is the reason why I went into Web3, because there's so many people that now is interested in Web3, and young people that have brilliant ideas, but not always have the legal background to it. And I've been asked to serve on other companies in the Web3 space, and also the metaverses panels, and also on their advisory boards, because of my legal background. So that is something that keeps on growing, and I'm learning day by day. That is why I love the Web3. It's new, it's adventurous, it's different, it's disruptive, and for me, it's just like spells out MyDATA.
I love it. I love that. So, Michelle, if you could give one piece of advice for anyone who has an idea of something that they want to create or build in Web3, what would that advice be?
Read a lot about what is going on in Web3, all the new ideas. If you have an idea, Google it and see if there is somebody that has a similar idea or the exact same idea. And if they have the exact same idea, do consult an attorney to ask, somebody obviously that knows a little bit more about technology, because most attorneys are doom prophets, but go and speak to an attorney to see how you can actually use the idea you have which somebody else might have, but alter it in a legal way and bring in something else that you can use. Attorneys are very boring people, but once you get them to start thinking about something, there's always a new idea that comes out of it. So there is still a job for attorneys, although Web3 actually starts to replace them and get virtual attorneys doing court cases now. Well, not even a virtual attorney, a AI attorney, but still that is my advice. And if you have an idea, don't just sit on it. Read, think about it, go for it. Be like Nike, just do it.
I love that. I love that. And also, as you're being curious, be sure to check out SagaChain as well for build your project on, definitely. So Michelle, tell us, where can we find out more about MyDATA?
So MyDATA, we have a website. I'm actually going to change the website soon because that was the first phase of what we've done with our POC and so forth. But it is on mydata.li, and LI stands for Liechtenstein. So you can find more information on there. And obviously also my email address is michelle@mydata.li. And in terms of our go-to-market strategy and our time frame, as I said, we are now launching. We are doing a seed fund at this moment so that we can launch actually. But once we get the money to start actually building our marketplace and our token exchange, our web portal and our DApp, which we can build all together. And it's going to take about 2 to 3 months. We can start testing this in a beta phase, and we actually can get to market within 9 months from the first funds arriving in the accounts to start building to market within 9 months. And then it will start generating income already.
Wow, that's fantastic. Love hearing that.
I had a question about the time frame as well as are we raising, and I hope that I've answered those sufficiently. So if there's anything else, and if somebody needs more answers to some questions that I might not have come up with now, please feel free to just drop me an email and we can set up a VC and we can discuss this further.
Fantastic. Yes. And we are recording this session. So we will have this posted. We will also make sure that we have Michelle's contact information on there and link to mydata.li so that you can check out MyData and learn more about the project and stay up to date on it, the timeline, the launch. And also, of course, information on SagaChain. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Michelle or me. Happy to make the connections. So want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you, Michelle, so much for joining us today and being the very first WESaga Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I want to specifically thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I also want to mention that currently with MyData, I'm looking into women entrepreneurs that do want to join in some way. So if anyone knows about any developers that are women, please feel free to send it over to me. And I would love to have conversations with some more female-driven Web3 technologists and also like-minded people. And I love, again, the PraSaga idea and the SagaChain. And I didn't mention this, but throughout the process and the tokenization and marketplace, obviously where you normally would have gas money, we would love to use the Saga coin once that is now finalized and launched and all of that. That'll be our main object and principle for funding the transactions.
Amazing. Michelle, so excited to hear that. And yes, this is what we're about, WESaga. Building that community, helping each other out, making those connections, supporting each other, and sharing the stories. Because these are the stories like yours, Michelle, that inspire others to build, to create, to just do it, like you said.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Michelle. And again, if anybody has any questions or would like to connect, reach out to Michelle or me. We're happy to make those connections and to have the conversations. So thank you all again for joining today. Stay tuned for more from WESaga, including details about how you can join our WESaga community, be part of the conversation, and we will be posting the recording very soon. So stay on the lookout for that. Again, thank you so much for joining. Hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you
Bye
so
for
much,
now.
Nicole.